PCMC. I'm Mike Bongiorno. I'm joined today by a group of fine people. We've got Anthony Bongiorno, Janine Gagliardi, and Jennifer Grace Luttrell. How are you guys doing?
Great. Good.
There's a microphone there if anyone wants to fucking pick it up.
Good.
How you doing?
A-okay.
Okay, great. Anthony,
AOC.
terrific. Today we are together to talk about our favorite theatrical experiences. What does that mean? That means anything that happened in a theater. So if you get a blowjob in a theater, I'm talking to you, Dave Coulier, it counts. No, so we opened this up. We made it very broad. This could be movies. This could be shows. This could be off-Broadway. This could be stand-up. This could be a music or even a comedy concert. A comedy concert from our favorite performer, Che.
She did die, or they did die, I should say.
Jen and I are seconds here.
What inspired this? I need to know. Like, what made you want to talk about like a live theatrical experience, or because you said movie theater experience as well?
Yeah.
So does it have to be like live performers?
I don't. That's so funny because I don't know where the ideas come from. I have, sometimes they just strike me. I'm like, that's a good idea, and I write it down. I don't think this was a new idea. I think this might have been on the list for a long time. And we were all going to be together because we're working on a secret project. And I was like, well, okay, since we're all together, let's record something else. And this seemed like a good thing for have a
broad
big
enough for
episode.
everybody.
Yeah, have a big episode. I have 4 and an honorable mention.
Okay.
How many do you have, Anthony?
4 and an honorable mention.
Look at you. Janine, do you have 2?
I got enough. I'll figure it out.
How many? Give me a number.
I don't know. Anywhere between 1 and 17.
Give me a goddamn number.
We'll get there.
Anywhere between 0 and 1.
You just keep coming back to me. I'll come up with something. Don't you worry.
Jen, how many do you have?
I also have 4 and an honorable mention.
Okay. I think you and I have at least one that's the same.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
Gotta be. I hope so.
I feel like, I was going to ask about overlap. I have 5 total. 1 I'm going to reserve for potentially an honorable mention because I feel like we're all going to have it on our list.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting.
Huh.
My honorable mention, you were definitely there. You were definitely
You
there.
were there for most of these.
Okay, no, you were there for 3 out of the... You were 2 out of the 4 I have.
You were at 4 out of 5 of mine.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
I guess I love you more than you love me.
There you go. Who wants to go first? Firsties. Well, Janine, you're holding the mic, so you should go.
The one I have nothing
Just do-
prepared.
Not for long.
Say your one and then leave.
I was like, and that's it for me. Okay, so when you posed, and I'm going to emphasis on that for a second.
Posited.
When you posed this as a prompt, I was like, okay, the first thing that came to mind, I went to see the Madonna Reinvention Tour at Madison Square Garden. The year was I think it was 2004.
Well, I wasn't even born yet.
So, and she was doing, it was like her Eras tour. She was doing all of her hits.
Yes.
And so I was like, I'm there. She was over 2 hours late.
Of course. You paid for that.
And MSG was really like, what do we do? Like the opening act had gone on and then there was a 2-hour gap before she came out.
What a bitch.
I know. And so, but I was having
But
the
again, you pay for
time
it.
of my life.
Yeah.
I remember our outfits. I went with my best friend from high school. We were like all dressed up and everybody was dressed up and they were dressed up as like, she was doing eras before Taylor Swift was doing eras. Like everyone was dressed up in a different era of Madonna. I was wearing a Jesus is my homeboy shirt. Do you remember those? Those are like from Kitson or whatever that like LA shop was. And it was just like the gays and the gals. And it was, and that is the part I remember more than the concert was the 2 hours just waiting for her to come out.
Was it fun or was it tedious?
It started off as tedious, but then it became a party. And then everyone was just like singing, dancing, waiting for her. And then the MSG like spotlight people would just start random. I've never seen them do this ever because people are usually more professional than this, but started spotlighting people in the crowd who were dressed up really amazing.
Wow.
And I mean, there's so many people at MSG.
You gotta do something.
Like,
You gotta
I
vamp.
don't even know how they could see in the dark, like what everybody was wearing. Because it wasn't like all lit up.
She was probably still in the air.
She was probably like literally like not even in New York at the time. And there was a a beautiful, beautiful gentleman who was dressed fully, head to toe, as Madonna from the MTV Music Awards,
my favorite.
Marie Antoinette performance of Vogue.
So good.
And the spotlight was on him, and people were giving a standing ovation. People were like, ah, like going absolutely insane. And I don't even know how he like sat at any point because it was like a bustle and everything, but absolutely incredible. And the show is incredible.
That's one
the
of my
show
sad-
is so great.
That's one of my sad videos. Like, you know, you have certain things you watch when you're sad. One of my go-tos is the VMA's performance of Vogue, the Marie Antoinette one.
And then she finally came out on a column that was being lowered from the ceiling of MSG, which is
people lose their
extremely hot.
minds?
Yes, she was upside down in a handstand in a yoga pose.
Wow.
Nice.
And she still looked like her, you know? She was really like tight because she was doing all that yoga. And it was just nuts. It was so much fun. She didn't do any new stuff. It was great. No one wants to hear that.
No, of course not.
No, it was a lot of fun.
That's
And then at
really
one point,
good.
the stage came out into MSG like a cruise ship. Like it was shaped like a cruise ship. And she was doing Holiday. Oh
who
my
were you
God. My best friend from high school, Annie Beth,
Annie Beth.
who goes by Ann now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She's Ann Noe. So,
Like
but yeah.
Green Gables? No, she has an E.
She doesn't have any.
Oh, okay.
No,
Sorry.
yeah. So, but yeah, it was the best.
That's
it was so
awesome.
much fun.
That's awesome.
And that's why I was like, it was pre-college, right? So senior year of high school, I was going into college in the fall. I think it was probably the spring. And I was like, this is where I'm going to be in Manhattan. Like, obviously I'd been to MSG before, but like, it was really seminal. It was like,
Yeah.
I'm about to be here with all the gays and the gals. Like, it's going to all happen. Like, this is the best.
There are moments in your life that feel like a page turn.
Yeah, it's true.
And, you know, like, it's fun when it, like, coincides with something like that.
Where it's like, this is the marker. This is like,
Yeah.
this is the big thing I'm doing before I go out into the world.
I had no idea people cosplayed to go see Madonna.
Yes.
Yeah?
Amazing.
Okay.
So great.
Sorry, I'm dumb. All right, Jen, what's one from you?
So I guess I'll do a Broadway one.
Yeah.
I have a mix of Broadway and movies.
Okay.
The show was fine. I mean, I loved it, but I love Daniel Radcliffe. It was How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying.
I don't like that show, just in general.
It's not. The show is fine.
What?
Exciting.
Anthony wants to start on that. He wants you to know.
By start, I mean I was one of the dancers in the background. I was part of the chorus.
Amazing.
And this was in high school.
And
My
where was
cousin Brendan was the star.
Where was this production?
New Dorp High School. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
Shout
Sorry,
out.
Jen.
No, that's okay.
It's off Broadway.
Oh, it's Staten Island. It's very off Broadway. Yeah.
I guess it's when I think I just graduated college. And when I tell you, me and my friend went, we had to have gone at least 5 times. We rushed tickets. We made friends in the line every time we rushed tickets. So sometimes we were like front row and we were super excited because Dan Radcliffe was right here. We waited at the stage door. So I have like a really great picture with him. One time him and Alan Rickman were on Broadway at the same time, and they were like down the block from each other, and you could only meet Daniel Radcliffe if you bought tickets to the show, but nobody cared about Alan Rickman but us. So we bought tickets to the show. We saw the show. Oh, one of our other friends waited for Daniel Radcliffe, and we ran down the street and just like ran right up to Alan Rickman, and it was
Nice.
amazing. It was amazing.
What did he say to you?
Well, we did it several times. So, the first time,
You were good.
No.
Again.
the first time, my friend asked for a hug, and he was like, "No, but you can have a handshake." And then
Correctly, he said no to a child.
shook her hand for like a full minute and just made eye contact the whole time.
Oh.
And she was just like,
I can't imagine anything more horrifying.
I don't know what
I'm
to do.
going to make
Until he was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to make 1 minute of full eye contact with you. I'm Alan Rickman.
And then the next time is around my birthday, so they got him to wish me happy birthday, and that was very exciting.
Happy birthday.
So, yeah,
That's awesome.
the whole shebang.
Yeah. So more even than the show was
Yeah,
the meeting
just the
Alan.
whole.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, meeting Alan, but like,
And
that's
you're a huge Potterhead.
Yes.
So
yes,
yeah.
yeah. But we had fun at the show. But I don't think it was the show. It was the show.
That's
I think it
awesome.
was the experience. Yeah, that was fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Anthony?
So I'll pick up your cue and I'll talk about Broadway.
Broadway!
You were, as I said earlier, Mike, you were present for 4 of these 5. Although I don't think this one you care about as much. This is when we were just but mere children. And it was the first Broadway show that I think either of us had ever seen. And it was Grease in 1995, 1996, something like that. It was that like Rosie O'Donnell, Brooke Shields revival.
But they weren't in on the one we saw.
No, we saw John Cicada as Danny Zuko.
Yes. And as a kid, I wouldn't have cared. But now I'm very excited that I saw him. Dick Cavett as the announcer.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I don't remember much of the show at all because I was pretty young. I was like 9. But it was just like a seminal experience for me because it was my first Broadway show and I loved Grease so much. And I remember the commercials remember Broadway commercials being on TV, especially daytime TV?
Excuse me.
Cats Now and Forever at the Winter Garden Theater.
So funny you bring that up because one of the few things I remember from the show was at the end, John Cicada being like, "Thanks for coming out tonight. If you loved the show, come on back and see us. If you didn't like it, tell your friends you saw Cats." But I remember like our mom being like, "Do you want to see that?" And I was like, "Yes, I want to see it." And I remember her like calling Telecharge on the phone to order the tickets. And then I was going and like I don't remember much about the show other than like it was an out of body experience for me. And I know that my parents like still to this day are like to me, like Anthony just sat there on the edge of his seat, just like staring mouth open through the whole thing. I was just so like mesmerized by it.
And they were like, "We were pretty sure you were gay before that." But that day really clinched it.
Yeah, that solidified it.
I remember going and loving it, but I wasn't moved the way you were. That's amazing.
I very recently took Henry to his first Broadway production.
What was it?
MJ.
Oh, that seems inappropriate.
Well, he can't hurt him now. But he loves.
Over some things.
Oh, they really do. Well, they stop at a very pivotal point in his life. But he loves the music of Michael Jackson, and he does theater. He's a theater kid.
Yeah.
And so we got Broadway direct lottery tickets, and we got them the day before, and the seats were amazing. We were Orchestra Row J. We were like right there. And it was that's not one of my experiences, but I hope it's something he remembers because I thought the show was pretty good. But for him, I kept just like watching him to see what he was doing. You know what? I am going to include it in one of my. It's one of my favorite. It's the experience of watching my son watch a show. Why not?
I think this isn't on my list, but I saw like 10 years ago. I saw Gremlins at BAM, Brooklyn Academy of Music, and there was a little like 8-year-old, 7-year-old girl next to us with her dad, and it was me and Nadia, and we both agreed that she made it better for us because she loved Gizmo and thought he was so cute. She got so scared when it was scary. She was like feeling all the right feelings at the right time, and it made us like see it in a new way. But my pick here, this is a film. In 2018, I went to an AMC, I don't remember which one, to see Hereditary. And this was a packed theater, literally not a single seat empty. And I think this was also me and Nadia. And have you guys seen Hereditary? You definitely haven't.
Parts of it.
Okay, it's a very scary movie.
It came out the year I had Henry, and I couldn't watch anything with a kid dying. So I was like, absolutely not.
Well, spoiler, it's extremely scary. And
I've seen the "I am your mother."
Yes.
Clip
By the way, they're saying "Bring Her Back" is the new Hereditary.
Yes, I've heard it's incredible.
Hereditary.
Yeah, I want to see that. I got to see that alone. So, for you don't know, like the main little girl character, she has a tick where she goes.
Yeah.
And there's a scene that is like super, super quiet in the middle of the night and it's super dark. And I don't know if you've experienced this in a theater where like you can sense everyone's butthole getting tight. Mm-hmm. And then you hear, and that little noise, you see like 100 people jump. and then we all start laughing because it like broke it, but then and then we all like we all just share ourselves over over that sound. It was one of the best horror movie experiences in a theater, and I don't know if I'd like that movie as much as I do had I not seen it, because no one wasn't bought in, no one wasn't invested, no one wasn't terrified in that moment. It was like a roller coaster. It was really like the things you hear about. It was, no one was like laughing at it. Nobody was like, haha. It was like, and this was his first movie, right? So it was kind of like, who the fuck is this
Ari
person?
Aster.
What was this? We didn't know what this movie was about or what to expect from Ari Aster. So we were all just kind of like, okay, this is whatever. And then, that movie happens, and it was just an amazing experience.
Well, actually, on my list was It Part 1, because we saw it with such a hot crowd. So Bill and I went. We were excited about it. We love the It miniseries, and it's its weakness. People would say, like horror fans would say, is like it does have a lot of jump scares, but it really makes for a fun movie going experience.
Jump scares are very fun in a theater.
Yeah, in a theater, if you're with a hot crowd, like that really wants to be scared, it's a lot of fun because everyone's like, oh, like you said, like a roller coaster. Like you're waiting for the drop, and then everyone screams, and then everyone starts laughing. It's like this weird experience of like catharsis all at once. Yeah, and then the whole theater has this like we're all in this together kind of camaraderie.
You feel empathy to each other. It's like a weird connection.
It's a weird emotional experience because it's evoking the same emotion from almost everybody there at the same time, right? Because you could be at a concert and be hearing a song and it means something sad to you, but it means something really happy to you. But in a horror movie, it's really like these pure emotions of like, we're going to scare you. You're not going to cry probably. You're not going to laugh most likely unless it's bad. Like we're just here to get this one reaction out of you. So it's this very pure, like focused experience of getting scared. You can't like, I mean, I guess you could look away, but like, you really can't like disengage from the film at all and start daydreaming because something will jump out and scare you again. So it's this real, like, it was a haunted house experience, which was so much fun. And when I kept telling people like how much we love the movie, I also would give it the caveat of, but I don't know if I love it as much as I do, or if I just loved the experience of being in the theater. I just really enjoyed like everybody being scared together. It was so much fun.
Can we go out of order? I'm sorry I don't want to skip anyone, but I feel mine bridges perfectly off of what Jeannie
apologize
said.
to Jennifer.
I'm so sorry.
No,
sorry, Jen.
I don't.
No.
I'm so sorry. I can hold it. No, so what you were saying just totally tracks with one of mine, which you were both present for, which is when we all saw Cloverfield.
Oh my God! Yes, I was going to say this one too. Yeah. Okay.
That's when.
No, we weren't.
Yes, we were.
Yes, we were.
We were there together?
Yes.
Yes, the three of us.
I don't remember.
Who had to take a Tylenol?
Him. No, me.
Oh, it was you?
Afterwards,
someone
I was
got a headache.
Such a headache.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I remember seeing it and the theater being packed, and I remember it being like so hot.
Yes.
Like as it was getting more and more tense, the temperature was rising.
Yes.
Just from the audience.
Yes, the audience.
I remember like
anxiety was going up, and the room was getting hotter and hotter, and like everyone walked out with a headache. Like
and I remember thinking, and I remember us talking after and being like, was that fucking amazing, or was it just the experience of seeing it like that? And I think it was just the experience, because I feel like I watched it later on DVD and I was like, it's good, but it's not like amazing like I remember.
Yeah.
Agreed. And I think that's a moment when like the theatrical experience can really change your impression of the film, because I mean, talk about the Star Wars prequels. Like, people walked out of there being like, those movies were amazing. And then watched them alone and be like, oh wait, these are terrible. It's just the excitement that everybody is feeling for it.
It's not on my list, but probably like the most excited I ever was episode 1. Mm-hmm. Like a new Star Wars movie? That's crazy. Jennifer, what do you got?
Well, I guess we'll do the holiday.
Okay, yeah, talk about the holiday. We've talked about this before.
Yeah. We have talked about this before.
Women?
Well, you talked about it before. I have a different experience.
Please.
I was having a ball until somebody ruined it.
Oh, no.
I was with those women. I love Alamo. But I want that. I want more audience participation in my movies.
There was literal champagne glasses breaking.
They were having a great time. These sassy old women were out and being bad, and they were having a great time.
They were being bad.
What happens when women misbehave? Men have to put them back in their place.
I didn't complain.
But you were
It was a woman who
seething.
complained.
You were so mad.
Yeah, I wasn't happy.
You were seething.
But I was.
You're ruining my experience at the holiday.
I was delighted.
But I did find it funny how much you liked it.
I loved it. I
You
loved
were
it.
so
I was
good.
so mad
You don't
that
need
someone
to hear every
complained.
minute.
It
No, you
wasn't
don't.
that fun.
It
It
was.
wasn't because it wasn't all reacting to the film. A lot of it was just like people being loud near you.
Yeah, because they were out being bad.
All right.
Uh,
All right. So we,
we
have
have
different
different.
opinions.
Yeah, we have different opinions.
Do you think it's because you're sober and you were angry at them
No.
for having a good time
No.
in a way that you were like?
No.
longer
I like a rowdy theater, but we gotta be rowdy with the movie. Don't be rowdy. Like, go to a restaurant and do this. Like, it's as if there wasn't a movie playing at all. It was the way that they were acting.
They were still commenting on the movie. You were just too mad to hear it. You were
You're
seething.
fuming. What a Karen. As we're talking, I'm thinking of more. I'm sorry, I just have to mention when we went to see 13 Going on 30, and a woman was like full on having an argument
yes.
on her cell phone with like her boyfriend or whatever, and was screaming at him, and people being like, "Shut up!" And then you hear silence, and then you hear her go, "Why'd you hang up on me? You're afraid to have this conversation?" And I remember at that point you just laughed out loud so loud, and then also like we have to talk about going to see Hairspray.
Hairspray! Oh my god!
Yeah.
And the guy falling down, like breaking this like drunk man fell down the stairs and broke his leg during Good Morning Baltimore.
We don't-
So you have like Nikki Blonsky
From the movie Hairspray.
singing this song, and then you hear him going, "I'm hurt! Someone help me!" And people being like, "Shh."
Shushing this injured man. And it really wasn't as heartless as it seemed, but he did seem like crazy, so nobody knew if he was
nobody knew if it
hurt
was real
or if
or
he was
not.
like fooling around
Yeah.
and just being an idiot, and like until the paramedics showed
It's
up.
like Will Ferrell from Austin Powers. "I'm very badly burned. You shot
It's like
me."
no one helped. Someone behind us, because I didn't see anybody get up, must have gone and get someone at the theater and be like, "This guy, I don't know what to tell you, he's on the floor." But it was so crazy that everyone in the theater was like not gonna help this man. We were all just like, "No, we don't trust you. You just seem untrustworthy to us."
You will not get our eyes off this.
No,
film.
we absolutely will not. John Travolta just showed up. Are you kidding me? Yeah, they removed him from the theater. Paramedics came, and they never stopped the movie. You can't stop the beat.
No, you can't stop the beat. You can't stop the beat.
Oh my
That's
God.
so funny.
You gotta have a side note about the concession stand worker.
Oh, woo? Oh, no. That was the legend of Woo.
Whoa.
This was going to be an honorable
That's what she's
mention.
not Becoming Jane.
Was that it? That was the movie? Oh, that's so funny.
This was going to be an honorable mention, but since we've opened it up, I want to just talk about it. In 2017, me, Anthony, and Nadia went to see A Ghost Story,
Oh,
which is one of the worst movies we've ever seen.
oh my god.
And if you don't know, it's this movie with Rooney Mara and who was the guy? I forget.
Casey Affleck.
Casey Affleck. Use a sound system. And
This mic picks it up.
he died, and the husband dies, and then it's like he wears a sheet. I don't know. Everyone thought it was really like it's like, oh, it's gonna be a cool artsy
Like
movie.
postmodern.
But it's it's just so pretentious, and it was the kind of thing where it was like we were in a theater, and I think I had suggested it, so.
So you feel responsible at that point.
Well, yeah, but I also think, like, I don't know. I'm hating it, right? But I don't know if Anthony's liking it or Nadia's liking it. And then he doesn't know if we're liking it. So, like, we all are kind of being polite for each other as it's getting worse and worse and worse. And then at one point, one character just starts pontificating, like, really hard. And I go... and then we all start laughing, and then like church giggles, because we're surrounded by pretentious assholes that are all loving it, which is what makes this funnier. Like no one else was laughing, everyone else is like loving it, and just me, Anthony, and Nadia are like just giggling nonstop to the end of the movie, and every stupid thing makes us giggle more. At one point, there's like it goes back in time. What'd you say?
He sees another. Well, he's wearing a sheet.
Yeah.
And then he sees another ghost wearing a sheet, and there's subtitles of "Hello." And we were like, truly, like I can't remember. I laughed so hard, I was like peeing myself.
At one point, it makes a circle in time, and there's like where they were. Their house is like a little house in the prairie, and it's so fucking bad. And then even after, for the next hour, we just laughed so hard.
Oh my god!
And that's a movie if I had seen alone, I'd be like, "This is a shitty movie," and
Yeah.
turned it off.
Sure,
but just like you should be laughing. And people giving us dirty looks like, you guys are Philistines. Meanwhile, I had already been teaching film for
you were like,
point.
girl, I know about movies.
Yeah,
This ain't it.
This is bad.
That's so funny.
This is a terrible movie.
God.
Oh my god.
Well, I remember the time you fell asleep during Hunger Games.
I'm so glad.
I'll wait then. I will wait.
No, you could. It was one of my honorable mentions.
That's it. That's the whole story. Basically, I just look over at you. You're out cold. Have you done that ever before in another movie?
Oh, I've done that.
A lot of you fall asleep in movies all the time.
Constantly. Anytime we go to see a movie with my dad, he's supposed to sleep. Last Father's Day we went to see Indiana Jones, and Last Crusade. He fell asleep. He's fallen asleep through any Marvel movie he's ever seen.
That tracks.
I really remember seeing. We took him for Father's Day to see one of the Avengers, and I remember willing myself to sleep. And I wake up and be like, "Is it almost over?"
Oh my God.
It's been 20 minutes. I'm like, "This is interminable." I actually had a whole shout out of times we've seen movies together.
Okay.
And that was one of them was Hunger Games. We falling asleep, and you being like, "Are you alive?" Because I just kept falling asleep.
I thought you were having a cardiac event.
Yeah. Another one I have a very fond memory of the two of us seeing Sex and the City, the movie together. And then the third one was Woo was in there, but also when we went to see Gravity and you came very drunk.
I was drunk as a skunk. Oh my god.
The whole time she was going, "Oh my god, I'm so sscared. I'm so scared." Gravity,
I was just like, "Oh my god, Gravity." Yeah. No, I had come directly from Chili's.
This is not hard.
And I had 2 margaritas, but really their margaritas are like 2 margaritas. So I really had 4 margaritas, and I came in and I was like, this is not the picture to be seeing. I was having a real embodied experience watching Gravity and just sweating and getting dizzy, watching it. I was like, no. Oh, Gravity.
Jen, we've got a good one. The big
go
one.
Ahead, you go.
You go.
You're talking about Willy Wonka?
Yeah, Willy Wonka.
Another Alamo.
Yes.
But it was a party.
It was a party, and it was hosted by Veruca Salt and Mike
right.
TV.
I forgot all about them.
Yeah.
I was thinking more about
they were there.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
That was cool.
But
and
just the vibe was right.
The audience was so good. They were so good.
See, this was the opposite of the holiday movie. Because everyone was loving it.
But and they were shouting out with the movie, and they had comments to make, and it was such a high. It was so good.
There's been a lot of good Alamo ones. When we saw Clueless at Alamo and everyone was shouting out the lines, that was a really good one too.
So it wasn't as good as Willy Wonka. Willy Wonka was the best. I always want Willy Wonka.
Yeah, Willy Wonka was really
but Clueless
good.
Was pretty good.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as good.
Talk about the Eras Tour.
Well, that was just crazy. That was insanity.
I've never seen anything like that in a movie theater in my life.
I went twice. When I went with my friend Kelly, it was better.
Yeah.
We had a scared dad next to us with 4 girls, and we took him on. And then there was us, but it was it was good. It was vibes. People were singing along. It was nice. The one we went to was just screaming.
Oh my god!
They were they weren't screaming lyrics. They were just screaming like they were getting murdered. It was terrible.
But I've never seen more. They got out of their seats.
Yeah, they were running around.
Yeah, they were running around. They were dancing.
They gave up. The waiters never came back.
They were on the stage, they were right in front of the screen.
Yeah.
They were taking pictures, it was just fucking Sweet 16.
Yeah.
I never it really was a movie that was people were acting like it was a concert.
Yeah.
I'd never seen it like that. And I went to the bathroom and I looked like me. And one of the waiters was like, "You're right, man. You good?" I'm like, yeah. It's wild in there. And he was like, yeah. We've been talking. At one point, the people did come in and go, "You've got to get away," because it was a fire hazard.
Yeah.
They were like, "You guys, stand in your seats at least. You can't all be hanging out in the front of the theater." That was bananas. That was insane. But the premiere of Barbie was also pretty wild too.
But the premiere of Barbie was great.
No, that was incredible.
Yeah. Everyone was excited. Everyone was loving it.
And then the movie ended up being awesome.
Perfect. Yeah.
So it was the hype lived up to it.
People get on Harry Styles all the time for saying that thing during promotion of Don't Worry, Darling, I think is the movie where he says it feels like a real movie. It feels like a real movie theater movie. But I totally get what he means.
Uh-huh.
Barbie is one of those films. It just feels very big.
Yeah,
it should be seen on a
Yeah.
big screen. It makes for a really great theatrical experience. I love seeing that was our first Alamo movie was Barbie.
Nice.
We hadn't been there before. It was a great movie to go to.
And it was a party too.
It was a party.
And the host called everyone Barbie.
Yeah,
Hi
it was
Barbie.
cute.
Hi Barbie.
Love that.
It was really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing with Alamo that's cool is like you get those experiences of being able to see old movies like right in our neighborhood. And it makes me think of like for years we used to have to go into the city to like
Yeah.
a lot of these theaters that don't exist anymore.
Yeah, like Sunshine.
And we saw quite a few like midnight screenings of old movies back then. And I remember one that stands out to me is, do you remember when we went to see Beetlejuice?
Yes.
And there was like a heckler in the crowd.
Yeah.
Who was like, she very much was like, the vibe here is we're making fun of this old movie.
Right.
And the entire audience turned against her.
Yeah.
They're like, no, you're not funnier than the movie.
And Brendan said, "Shut up, bozo."
He literally, I remember he said, now you can shut the fuck up, bozo. But then also, another one that stands out to me is when you and I and Nadia went to Brooklyn Academy of Music to see the original Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes.
And we were like, wow, this movie's fucking hilarious. The whole audience was laughing through the whole thing.
Right.
Like,
but
not
kind
mean-
of.
Do you think it was mean-spirited?
It was a little added because not mean spirited, but maybe slightly cynical because it was we saw it at Alamo not that long ago, and that was a different experience. The one at Brooklyn Academy of Music, it felt like we were all laughing at it, like when the alcoholic mother, like pulls out the fucking bottle of booze from like absolutely nowhere, like a rabbit out of a hat. Everyone lost their shit.
But those are the kinds of experiences like you wouldn't like watching that at home. I'd seen the movie a million times.
You wouldn't have
never
gotten
laughed
it.
at that.
No, you wouldn't have.
And then another one like that is remember we went to see Rosemary's Baby, and like there are so many like parts like with the neighbors where they're like so over the top that like it's funny. And then I remember I was talking afterwards being like, we didn't realize like how comical those performances are until we saw it with an audience.
You get such a big...
I'm sorry. I kind of felt the way about Willy Wonka. Like, I always knew it was a funny movie, but seeing that was like, this is like our laugh riot. Like, it's like...
What do they want? I'll give them whatever they want.
Yeah.
That diva.
I love her. Well, I think seeing it with the group, it produces heightened emotions, right?
Yes.
Like, it's why I always find those, like, trailer reaction video, like so disingenuous because like no one's doing this alone. Like you do this with your friends. Like you get excited with other people. Yeah. Like no one's doing that alone. You're just
it's very performative.
Like that's about it. And prior to Alamo, where you're going with like a lot of film lovers, those experiences I would only have at outdoor movies. So like the Bryant Park outdoor movies or movies with a view. I used to love going to those in the summer. It's like the reason we got a projector and a screen in the backyard. And I'll always remember seeing Warriors. And not only were people like shouting out lines, but I never got like what a big triumphant moment it is when they all get separated, right? And like two of the Warriors encounter what the heck is the baseball Furies or what is it called?
I think that's it.
They encounter them. They're sort of like the really tough gang to beat. Besides the main villains, and then the rest of the Warriors come down the opposite side stairs, and everybody cheered. Like everybody on the lawn was like, "Yeah!" Like screaming. Yeah. And I was like, I've never had this reaction to this part of the movie, but I was like, I love that. I love that. Like everyone's so excited for this. And you only get that with a bunch of other people. It's that what is it, mob mentality, right?
Yeah. The Force Awakens was an amazing experience. The scene, I mean, again, it was that vibe of a Star Wars movie, but this one's actually going to have like the characters in it. When Kylo Ren goes to use the Force to grab the lightsaber and it flies past him and then into Rey's hand, I remember the pop in the theater was like, whoa, it was crazy. And then they have an awesome lightsaber fight. That was, and people were like cosplaying that and shit. And this was on Staten Island.
Similarly, did you have a big theatrical reaction? And Bill and I were in the same theater. We were not there together. We ran into each other on the way out.
Secret Origins.
We just happened to be in the same theater, and it was for, was it for Clones, Bill? It's Attack of the Clones, right?
I thought it was Spider-Man 3.
Well, it's Dooku and Yoda.
Oh yeah.
When Yoda comes in and
Yeah,
he's doing the Willy Wonka, like the cane, right?
And then he drops,
And then he drops it and he like pulls out the lightsaber, and it was the first time we were ever going to
He
see him
opens
with
his
a
coat,
like a
and
gun.
then-
Like he's showing a gun.
and then Force grabs it off of his.
And we were all like, what's this gonna? People in the theater, before they even started fighting, just the fact that he was taking out a lightsaber. And like, I'll always love the prequels for those moments that they gave us.
To me, that's a great example of it was an amazing theatrical example, but after that first reaction, it's never good again because it's like it's stupid. Like Yoda, what made Yoda powerful was his wisdom and stuff.
Right.
But see, and you always thought as a kid, like, what's it like if Yoda fights?
Yeah.
And then you saw it, and it was like, oh my god, mind blowing. That was like the big thing about that movie.
Well, the whole
now
theater
you
went
look back, and it's like, oh,
like
stupid.
we were about, like we're about to go.
Like he's gonna do
so
it. You've never even
excited.
seen Yoda have a lightsaber before.
Right.
Like it was wild, and you never knew how he was going to do it. And then
Right,
he
he's
flips
slow,
off
then
of
he's
air.
fast. He's like a little firefly.
Yeah, he's like a little
jumping all over
frog.
the place. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's crazy, and he's like the fastest thing you've ever seen.
Yeah,
Everyone was just like, "That was amazing. That was the best thing."
right. Because it's like the little kid at the cafeteria thing you always thought about, and you saw it.
Right, because you could argue like, "Well, Yoda would be the best because he's the best of the Force."
Yeah.
Like, no, he's not. He's little and old and slow.
Yeah.
I showed you.
Another great one. Comedy was Borat, the first Borat.
Yes,
The scene
100%.
where they have the two men have the naked fight.
Yes. You know what
I've
people
never
say?
seen people laughing. People were literally like splitting their sides laughing.
You know when people say like rolling in the aisles?
Yes.
I literally saw people on the ground rolling with laughter. I've never seen that before. People were out of their seats in the aisles laughing.
It like tapped into something
insane.
primal. It was crazy.
That's so crazy. Yes, it was such a vivid theatrical experience. And like, I remember they were showing footage of the audience reaction during some of the trailers. Like some of the commercial spots would have the audience during that fight. And
like the way they would do horror movies,
right? Like you'd see people be like, oh. And yes, that was I've never seen that kind of reaction from a comedy before.
It was amazing.
Like crazy.
Okay. I have one left. How many do you guys have, Anthony?
I have like a couple. I don't know. I just made like a list, and I was adding things too as we were talking.
Me too. How many do you have?
I think of two off the top of my head.
What about you?
Like one.
All right, let's go through
I'm this next one I'm gonna go with because we've talked a lot about how like the audience can make it, but this is actually one that I saw in a pretty empty house, and by myself, which I very rarely go to the movies or to a show by myself. This was a Broadway show that I saw by myself.
Wow.
And it was
So there were more people on stage.
Yeah, it was a matinee. It was like a Wednesday matinee of Company. Raul Esparza was in Company in like 2007, 2008. And I was like in Hunter, and I was like, I just was in the city and my class was over, and I was like, I want to go down to the tickets booth and just like see if I can get a ticket to see something. Like I'm just in the mood to see something. I don't want to go home. Like remember those like when we were in Hunter, sometimes you'd be like, I want to be in the city. I don't want to go back to the island yet. I want to figure out something to do. So I did that, and then I remember like getting it for like $20, and I was by myself, and almost by myself in the theater. Like it must have been toward the end of the run, although Raul was there. I was in the balcony, but I remember like it was so empty up top that like the ushers, once the show was ready and like the doors were closed, they were like, come down.
Oh,
You can come
nice,
closer.
yeah.
And like I was able to like sit right in the front row of the balcony, and I had no idea what it was. I just know that it was cheap and like it was supposed to be good. And
you knew nothing
I
about
knew
Company?
nothing.
That's so funny. You
enough.
love Company. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Company, and that's the thing too. Is like sometimes when you go into something with zero expectations, that's it will like almost like an airplane movie kind of thing where you're like, oh, what's this thing? And I loved it. I mean, it's this amazing Stephen Sondheim musical, and I mean the soundtrack. I still listen to the soundtrack all the time. The performances were amazing, and it was that Raul Esparza revival was the one where they were also playing their own instruments too. So that was really neat. And I don't know, it was just like I don't know, like it was just one of those things where like I watched and I like loved every second of it. I loved every song immediately, and I was like, oh my god, this is like brilliant and moving, and the performances are great, and the music is amazing. It was just like transcendent. I just loved it, and that was, I think I maybe wouldn't have loved it as much if it weren't for that unique set of circumstances in which I saw it that first time.
There's always an amazing feeling of discovery. Discovery is always an amazing feeling, and it's sometimes heightened by being alone, where you're like, "Oh my God, this existed, and how did I not live with this all this time?" Or if it's something brand new, you're like, "Oh my God!" I remember, this isn't on my list, but I remember seeing The Matrix for the opening night, and everyone being like, "Holy shit!" Like this is, and then movies ripping it off for like 15 years after, and everyone being like, "Oh my God, it's like Star Wars, but there's also kung fu, and there's also like." Weirdly, like it was just like, oh my god, like lightning out of a clear blue sky. What do you, Jen? What do you have? I have a guess of what yours is, but tell me.
What do you think it is?
Is it a show we saw?
No,
it's not. Okay.
You said it's gonna be Beetlejuice.
No, I thought it was gonna be something else.
Oh, what do you think it was?
I thought it was gonna be the final performance of Music Man. We saw the final performance of Music Man with Hugh Jackman, and there was a whole feeling of this is our last performance. And he started improvising and doing weird shit because it was like there's a little girl who was part of the ensemble of dancers, and for no reason he swooped by and picked her up and she screamed.
Oh, it was really cute.
Yeah, because you could tell she was not. That was not supposed to happen, but he just did it. And then after he came out and like they talked and like they had flowers. And Sutton
was Sutton Foster in it too?
Yeah,
Sutton Foster.
they're dating.
Yeah, and they were probably together then. She was like, "Thank you so much for doing Broadway shows. You're a movie star, and you don't have to." But
was he in that once before? Had he been in a Music Man prior, and then they did it again, like they staged it again? I feel like I remember him being on Broadway.
I remember the boy from Oz.
Yeah, he was the boy from Oz.
That was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is yours? I thought that was what you were going to say.
I think just because it's on my mind, because I'm dying to see it with Audra McDonald, but Gypsy. The first time I saw it was with, huge musical family. My aunt raised me and my sister, and my grandma. But she was like the bigger one to like play musicals in the car. So we had the Tyne Daly cassette, and we would listen to it all the time in the car. And then I guess this was the first time I would have been old enough when Bernadette Peters was in it.
That's Janine's cousin.
Is it?
It is.
What?
Love her.
I don't know her.
Oh, okay.
But we are related.
Amazing.
You're welcome on the show.
We big friend of the pod.
But yeah, we got tickets and we saw it and I loved it. Yeah, she's so good.
And that's your favorite show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's my favorite musical because we also watched the Rosalind Russell movie like over and over again. Yeah, I just like, I don't know. We just like, me and my sister loved it. We're half sisters, and we just loved that. We didn't know a lot of half sisters then. But yeah, we loved it. And then we saw it with Patti LuPone, and we did not love it.
Oh,
I like that we're canceling
love
her.
it. We did not love it.
She's like being canceled now, kind of.
Yeah.
Clock that tea. She just apologized.
I know. For the
She
first
did?
time
For like
ever.
the first time ever.
Ever.
Because she saw the writing on the wall. People
Yeah.
were turning against her.
Yeah.
Her like attitude's
bad.
not.
Yeah.
Her bitchy attitude is not charming anymore.
Yeah. I know, you shared that clip with us and we were like, yes, get it. And he was like, she's so unpleasant.
Yeah, we've been watching with bated breath the downfall. She'll be back. Patty will rise from the ashes.
Because as that
Ira Madison,
that you shared.
People kind of still love her for it. They're like, she's calling people bitches. All right. Like, oh, but it's the racial aspect of it that they don't like, and rightfully so. But then, he was making the point of like, she's a bitch, but is she racist? Probably not. Because if it was a white production, then she probably would have said the same thing, but it's perceived as a microaggression because it's too loud, right? Quote unquote. But it is. But then he was saying like, but Hadestown is super loud. So,
especially because it shares a wall with a straight play.
Yeah. So, but he was saying if you were in the audience of that play, you could always hear Hadestown going on, which, isn't right for those theaters.
I think it also didn't help her that, what's her name? The one
Audra McDonald.
Keisha Lewis.
Oh,
Keisha Lewis. Yeah, she said she's not a Broadway veteran when of course she is.
The original cast.
But she also tried to start beef with Audra McDonald.
Oh, they go back a while.
Her performance, and Audra McDonald was just like, if we have beef, I don't know about it.
Well, is that what I'm talking about? Who was the one that like when they brought it up to her, they were so classy about it?
Audra McDonald.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know what she means. Anyway.
Yeah, she ate her ass up because she was like, we haven't talked in like 11 years, so if we have a beef, I don't know. I don't know about it.
Yeah,
it was great.
Well, Audra's living rent free in Patty's head. That's for sure. But
also, the Audra McDonald was on the cover of Time
that
next
week.
day.
Yes,
and then I said to Janine, I was like, "You just know Patty's fuming." Right
yes,
now.
And it was like, did they call her the goat or like they called her something? It was like the best on Broadway ever.
Yeah, I think it might started with me when I saw the clip of her going off on the person whose phone rang, and I always felt like. Well, just keep going. Like you're ruining the show now more than any
you've stopped it.
It's about you. And then there's that famous story.
That was Company.
Was that Company?
That was when she was in a revival of Company, a gender swapped revival. Yeah.
She's also, and I don't think she's a good actress, but she's really mean to Madonna for being in the Evita movie, and it's like you were never going to be in it, so it's not Madonna's fault.
That reminds me of a theater experience. One time, I went to see the Whoopi one-woman show where she kind of does like an autobiographical show. And you could hear a little kid, like a toddler, like crying. And she stopped the show and she went, I want you guys to go out to the front. She's like, you're going to get tickets for a different day. She's like, I understand you can't find a babysitter. It's tough out there. And she's like, you go. And everyone cheered. She was like,
nice.
And she's just going to reset the scene and start over again. And the people like went out with their baby. And she's like, it's on the house. Like, you just come back when you can. I was like, that's really classy.
Yeah, that was classy. That's not what LaPone does.
No.
I have one more. Evil Dead the Musical. It's one of Anthony. Okay. So it's actually based on the first two movies. The first act is part one, the second act is part two, which actually makes sense. And the thing, where was it? New World? It was like, off Broadway.
Yeah, it's the New World Stages, which is off Broadway and it's underground. All the theaters are underground. It's it's almost like an off Broadway version of of a multiplex. Like there are multiple theaters underground.
Yeah, and it would play late, right? Mm-hmm. It would play like super late. Was it
started at like 10?
It would start at like 10, and they had cheap beer. And it was famous for, they would shoot blood onto the audience. Mm-hmm. So like
splash zone.
Yeah, the splash zone. So people in the front rows would have like a Gallagher show.
Yeah.
Would have like plastic bags and stuff. But still everyone got blood all over them, and it was just amazing. It was incredible.
Yeah, that's on my list too. Just from the splash zone and the crowd being so hype, and also like it was good. Like the music was very great. Good. It was so funny, so funny.
Yeah. The effects were amazing.
We saw it multiple times.
Yeah.
We kept going back for a minute there. We were like Evil Dead heads.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. I still listen to the soundtrack once in a while.
Oh, wow.
There's a great song called "What the Fuck Was That," which is when they first hear something like "What the fuck was that?" It was so good. It was really good. And it was just it. You know what it was? It made me think this is probably what Rocky Horror felt like. Like when it was first playing in London, and like it was like a tiny little theater, but it became a huge hit. Like that's what it felt like. Like it was like a rock show. It was raucous.
But has anyone ever been to the Rocky Horror Picture Show live thing where they like make you go up on stage if it's your first time? I never did.
I once saw a. Yeah, go on.
Oh, we used to do it at the St. George Theater, so I worked it. But yeah, it was fun.
What was the But do they still do it? It's like that theater in Manhattan.
Oh, yeah.
It was Waverly, but that's IFC now. So I don't. So IFC doesn't do it anymore.
They make you come on stage and like do an orgasm.
Yeah. It did it
Was your
for
first time
years
there?
and years and years.
Yeah. That was like a thing.
It went so long that I remember when Stepmom came out, Susan Sarandon saying that she took the girls that were in Stepmom.
Oh, to go?
Yeah.
That's really fun.
Yeah. So that was in the late 90s.
Yeah.
I did once see a shadow cast of Ghostbusters where they and this was in Staten Island because this was this team that did it was like a traveling company and they did it at a bar that used to be here called Martini Red.
Oh yeah.
And they had it was like a good production. Like they weren't just dressed like it. Like they had a Slimer puppet that was pretty wild, and at the end, like they had shaving cream guns for everyone, like with the marshmallows. It was pretty fun.
Okay, I have one and then one honorable mention.
Sure.
So something that I read about people who live to be in like their 90s or even reach 100, and people interview them like, what are your regrets? And like the main ones are if their kids don't talk to each other. That's like their huge regret. But one of the ones that range in like the top 5 that I thought was very surprising was not seeing more things live, like not going to see more bands when they were still around, or like not taking the opportunity to see things live. So this one always reminds me of that because Fleetwood Mac came through a few years back and they played MSG and the entire lineup was there. So there were there's always holdouts in Fleetwood Mac because they're famously dramatic. And so like Stevie and Lindsey Buckingham don't get along frequently. Christy McVie didn't play for years, and she's since died. Like she died pretty soon after that, and no one knew she was sick. So, and so we saw the full lineup of Fleetwood Mac, and it was amazing.
Same night, same show, not together.
Not together. And so the stars were out that night. Hoda Kotb was there.
Yes.
Sarah Paulson was there, and she kept shouting people out from the stage. We kept joking that from Landslide, she was going to be like, this is for you, Hoda. But she did say, the Supreme is with us tonight, because it was like the season of Coven. And Sarah Paulson was there. And it was a great show. They were amazing live, but it was mostly just like the special feeling of we got to see them before, members died or people went their separate ways.
Yeah,
like, we actually got to see them. And I've seen a lot of concerts like that. I've seen Elton John, who's now not performing anymore. Blink-182, Mark Hoppus almost died. Like, yeah.
I once saw George Carlin, and it was interesting because despite being like the Beatles of comedians, he doesn't have a lot of like what modern contemporary comedians have where it feels very alive. His stuff felt very written. He was very writerly.
Yeah.
The thing that stands out to me from that performance was like the most human moment where there was like a very bright spotlight and he said to like the people in the booth, he was like, hey, can you lower the spotlight because it's making me move backwards and I don't want to pull back from these people. I want to give them a good show. And then they lowered it. And just that human moment I thought was really fascinating to me. And he also went way darker. And this was towards the end where he was very dark. He went even way darker because like eventually like a year later, that material was a HBO special, but he had cut out stuff that I had seen that was like way darker.
Yeah, you just reminded me when you said Carlin, because I was thinking comedy shows. Do you remember seeing Kathy Griffin?
Yes. That was great.
CSI.
Yeah, that was great.
It was like a college show, something she would never do now.
Yeah.
It was like when she was first, she had like Suddenly Susan? Like
No. This was...
No, it had ended, but this is when she like got into stand-up again.
But D-List was happening.
Yeah. It was like the early aughts.
We saw her during that time too, right?
A little after.
In Manhattan.
We saw her at the Garden, I think.
Was it the Garden
Or
Theater?
Wahlberg
The theater at the Garden. Yeah.
But this was at CSI in just like in 1P. Which is like for
but that's where I saw George Carlin too.
Oh, really?
CSI.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that was also a great show because it's great. College audiences are great.
Right.
And I remember her.
Well,
being
they used to be.
Yeah,
Seinfeld.
I remember the first thing she said when she came out was like, "Oh, college of Staten Island, how the fuck are you?" And then she was like, "Staten Island, there goes the neighborhood. All the gays are here." And like the crowd erupted, and I was newly out, and I remember you like turning to me and being like, "Your people are here."
I remember what was amazing as a performer was it was a big theater, but she made it feel like a little club. She
She always goes like, "Hey guys," and like puts her hands up to her mouth, like just between us. I love that.
It really felt. She really made it feel intimate. Mm-hmm. And remember, the only comedian that ever really got canceled.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true. She's got a YouTube channel now, and I don't think people like the algorithm fed it to me, but it's good. It's her storytelling, and she's got so many stories from places
because she had cancer. Yeah. So I'm done. Do you have one? You have one more?
I have one more, and it is probably probably the most joyous live experience we've ever had, and it included someone from this room performing.
Oh,
which is Bill Gagliardi.
What the fuck?
Hi. So, not his own music, but
thank God.
So every Halloween they used to do a cover show. Like the local bands would do cover shows. And this was at Cargo, right? When it was not Cargo, not the Cup. This was at the Cup.
Yeah. The Cup.
So this was at the Cup, and it was like a cafeteria. It was a coffee shop. There in the back, they would have like a performance space. Yeah. They had like a stage. And this year the bands were doing Rage Against the Machine. Like one band was doing Rage Against the Machine, and then the next band was doing the Flaming Lips. And the Flaming Lips really puts on like this big stage show. They like the lead singer comes out into the audience on like a Zorb, and there's like pyrotechnics, and it's like they're not really a jam band, but it kind of has that feel where you're supposed to be like really high to experience them.
Yeah. Sure.
And so the first band went on, and they did Rage, and like. You know, the place is a pit. Like, people were going insane. And I feel like this was very crucial to why everyone had... Like, because everyone talked about it afterwards. Like, this was an amazing show. I feel like the Rage Against the Machine stuff was so important to why it worked. Everyone got all their, like, anger and energy and, like, whatever negative feelings they had out during the first set. And because people were, like, screaming and, like, fighting and being crazy. And then it was like the energy had cleared from the room. And we were a blank canvas for... the Flaming Lips to come on next, right? So Bill was playing with them, and everyone was dressed up like all crazy, and they had like $0 in their budget. And a friend of ours who is not a musician and not a singer was the lead singer, and he is an artist, so he had made these giant paper mache hands, which is something that the band will do. And so he came out with like these huge hands on the end of his arms. And then, like, they performed and it was fun. But then at the end, he was working at CSI at the time. And he had just been collecting bags upon bags, like a truckload full of bags of shredded paper from, like, their offices. Like, when they would dump out the machine, he would just put it in a garbage bag and just take it with him. Like, he was collecting them. And as the songs are like really happy. As the songs are going and it's reaching sort of the end, they're just emptying these garbage bags of shredded paper into the room. And it's like really small. And of course, I'm sure we inhaled tons of it in our lungs. And there was, I would say, how many feet would you say were on the floor? Like we were up to our knees in shredded paper. The entire room was filled with shredded paper and people were like, it was 6 contractors. Okay. It felt like more than that.
A lot of electronics in my gear have broken because of
all the paper powder and shredded. And people were having snowball fights. People were like lifting it up, dumping it on each other.
That's fun.
And it just kept going. Like the show was finished and people were just like still like having a blast. Everyone became like a little kid like playing in the snow, but it was with all this paper, like little pieces of paper. It was so much fun. We all felt like I mean, we hadn't done any drugs, but like we all felt high afterwards. We were like, that was amazing. That was insane. Like we all just did that. That was so much fun. And it was great. It was like nothing I've ever experienced.
Did you know that Bill did the theme music to PCMC?
What?
Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it?
It really is.
Bill, do you have a favorite theatrical experience?
You know what? I actually texted Janine. Hold on. I will say this.
Oh my God, the air guitar show!
Yes, the air guitar show.
Okay,
so we did this out of a whim. I think Air Guitar Nation was already out, but we didn't see it.
I'm so distracted by your eye. God, you need an eye patch.
I do.
No, I said he should work on his Peter Falk impression.
Oh my God!
There have been a couple, like, I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan, so, like, I got to see David Gilmour play, and it was an amazing light show. He did very much similar to what Pink Floyd did. I saw Roger Waters perform The Wall, and, like, watching The Wall was the reason why I got into Pink Floyd. That's why I was like really into live shows, because that's very theatrical. It has like huge puppets, and they build an entire wall on stage and then knock it down, and like very, very opulent. But there was this one time that Janine and I just blindly went to an air guitar national championships that was going to be at Irving Plaza. And we go up there, and in the venue, before anything, we see that there's balloons right on top of us that, like, you know, like at the end of the show, they release the balloons all around. The rafters are pennants of the like previous year winners, like this was a sporting event. And then two people come out who are the MCs. They do a song themselves, pretending like they're playing guitar. Incredible. And like 3 seconds into the song, the balloons release. Nice. So like it's like we're already starting up on 10 and moving up from there. The judges, they were all celebrity judges. I think Kristen Shaw was in the first year. Kristen Shaw was, yeah. Oh, no, Jim Jones, not Jim Jones.
Jim Jones?
Jim Jones, the cult leader.
No. What was his name? He was from The Daily Show.
Oh, Jason Jones?
Jason Jones.
Yeah.
Kristen Shaw was the second year.
Yeah.
Because then this became something where we had to bring our friends and we had to sing.
Yeah, the judges were behind, they were up in a balcony, so really high up, and they were also behind plexiglass. This would become clear to us why later. The hosts encouraged you to throw your beer at them.
Wow.
So, yeah. So people were just like pelting the glass with beer like it was like a hockey game, and they're just... Well, Jason Jones seemed genuinely pissed, but he got nailed a couple times.
One of the one of the performers threw a beer out to us, and one person wasn't paying attention, and she got nailed in the head, so then everybody just buried him in beer cans.
Right. It was a war of beer cans.
And they only served beer cans. They did not serve bottles.
Yeah, for that reason.
The second year there was the plexiglass up, but it was like a musical event mixed with a wrestling event. Because like these people had all amazing costumes, they had these personas. Like there was the winner that year. His name was Romeo Dance Cheetah.
Oh, so great!
This, like,
Romeo Dance Cheetah. He was amazing.
The international champion is Aristotle, who was a Farrell graduate like myself.
Amazing.
So that
and they do it in Finland, right? So
Finland is the
travel all the way
champion.
to Finland to do this.
That's incredible.
But I mean, there's this one thing. Janine went to the bathroom for this, and it was so incredible to see. There was this one guy. His name was Dreamcatcher, and he came out. He looked like he was from Colorado. He had like a huge poncho, like just like a man of the earth, and he.
I just thought he was from Colorado. You know, they're always wearing those big ponchos there.
He took an air bong hit, pretended like he had a
incredible,
and he's playing "Witchy Woman" by the Eagles.
Great song.
And halfway through the song, he exhales smoke.
What?
Yes!
That's like a magic trick.
And during the build-up of the song, where it's just drums going bum 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 bum, he stops playing air guitar and just brings his arms like this, and he has total command over the crowd, and like everybody's screaming. Somebody next to me is crying. Like,
Wow.
So. As much as a musician as I am, the lack of any instrumentation or anything was one of the greatest experiences I've ever had in my life.
It's pure performance.
Amazing.
That's great.
Guys, go see live stuff and stuff in films. Go be together in public spaces with other people.
It's true. I'm so glad we got back to that. I really feared that COVID was not going to do it. Like, I would watch things on Palladium during COVID and be like, are we ever going to be in a concert again? Like, I couldn't imagine being so close to other people. Like, I didn't want to.
Yeah.
And then you have things like Chapel Roan at Lollapalooza, where it's like thousands upon thousands of people. Or just recently that Lady Gaga thing in Brazil, where it was like the whole population of the city came out to see her.
Yeah.
Well, you were saying earlier, like, thank God we got somebody with good sense back in the White House because
Oh,
lockdown.
oh, God. Come on now.
I'm not wearing a diaper on my face.
Let's not end on that.
I'm like, do you shit out of your mouth? Like, I don't understand. Why are you calling it a diaper? It's so insane.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
Well, this has been PCMC. I want to thank everybody. Bill Gagliardi, Janine Gagliardi, Jennifer Luttrell, and Anthony Bongiorno. I'm going to say, go bye-bye.